I'm Marty Metro. I'm the CEO of UsedCardboardBoxes.com. We're a national company that buys and sells once-used boxes. So we started off a long time ago in 2002, buying moving boxes from people that had just moved in their houses, and we figured, hey, they're throwing them away anyway. We could buy them for, say, 10 cents a piece and sell them to somebody else for less than, a retailer would. That was 8 years ago. And today we now work with Fortune 500 manufacturers and some of the biggest retailers in the world to do the same concept, but with millions and millions and millions of shipping boxes. So Bradford asked me to come and be on a panel about eco-entrepreneurs and kind of help inspire people that it is possible to run an eco-friendly company, make money, make a positive impact on this earth, and be happy about doing it. We started 8 years ago with moving boxes, and we would buy once-used moving boxes and sell them to people that needed cheap moving boxes. Well, now we do it with big manufacturers, where we're buying, selling millions of boxes by the tractor-trailer load with the same exact concept of reuse. So we pay more than recycling because we don't scrap the boxes, and we charge less than wholesale because our boxes have been used already once. I was so bored and fed up with my career in the 90s. I was a software consultant, and I was just traveling around the country, either fixing people's software or designing software that really was just, to me, made very little impact on the world. And as Stephen Covey likes to say, what's going to be on your tombstone? Begin with the end in mind. I thought about my funeral, and I was 30-some years old, saying, what have I done? Like, what mark have I made? So in 2002, I came up with the idea of there's so many boxes being thrown away, yet there's people in grocery stores and liquor stores asking for boxes. We got to be able to figure out a way to get those boxes that are being thrown away into the hands of the people that are looking for cheap boxes. And what began in 2002 as just kind of an experiment has now led to a national company that does exactly that for Fortune 500 companies. There's no off switch. There's no 5 o'clock, okay, I'm done regardless. I have a pretty interesting story because I started in 2002 with an idea that I was so passionate about that I just knew would work. And I started selling boxes for cheap, and people started buying them. So I said, oh, I'm successful. I'm selling hundreds, then thousands of used boxes for cheap. And U-Haul heard about me, and we had conversations with U-Haul, and by all of my definitions, I was successful. At the same time, I was losing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and I had no idea what my business model was. So 3 years into it, in 2005 and moving into 2006, I was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt selling used boxes. So I actually, in 2006, had to shut down, 2005, I had to shut down 4 retail stores because they were all just hemorrhaging cash, yet very busy. Lots of customers, very happy. They're all thanking me. They're all saying how great it was that they could get used boxes for cheap. But the cost of the retail store was way more than the amount of boxes I could possibly sell. So we had to shut down in 2005, into 2005. 2006, I had gone back to getting a day job, miserable, working in a cubicle, selling software. And every night and weekend, I kept thinking about, there's got to be a way to do this. There were so many happy customers, so many people. I just got to figure out how to do it profitably. And that's when we went out to venture capital firms and said, we've got this idea, but we need help. And it wasn't that we had all the answers, we need money. It was, we have an idea, we need help. And after about 199 no ways, we had a small venture capital firm that was willing to work with us on the business model. We raised a little bit of capital, tested it, it worked. Raised a little bit more capital, expanded, and so far we've done 4 rounds of capital and continue to expand the company. Telling your parents that you're going to leave I guess I was the senior vice president of an international consulting firm just after the dot-coms had collapsed, and I'm telling my parents that I've got this idea to sell once-used cardboard moving boxes, and I'm gonna make millions. Not only did they laugh at me, my friends laughed at me, everybody was like, you're crazy. Not only did I have that going against me, but I failed. They were all right. I lost, it's funny, I lost all the money I had, but I went into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. I was at $300,000 of debt. That's money I didn't have. So So it's one thing to lose the money that's in your pocket. It's another thing to owe people $300,000 and not have an income. So that's when I had to go back and get the day job and do the only thing that I was anywhere near trained. My resume, by the way, said for the last 3 years I've been selling used boxes and not even doing it well enough to make money. So I hadn't made money in 3 years. Definitely putting my wife through the test. We had gotten rid of our fancy cars, no more vacations, no more anything, and went back and got a day job. But I kept knocking on the doors of the VC firms and banks and saying, look, you know, there's something here. And finally, we got the opportunity to test it. And this time we didn't test it. This time we made a plan. And if you're going to say you're only going to make a dime off of a product, you got to sell a lot of those products. And that's where we went really wrong. We thought we had this great margin. We're going to make 50 cents on every box. But if you only sell 500 boxes, you've only made 250 bucks, and that doesn't pay the rent. But here is what I think is the biggest challenge for a green entrepreneur. I could go up to almost any green entrepreneur and I could say 3 questions. How much do you sell it for? How much do you buy it for? Now, how many times do you have to do that transaction in order to cover all your overhead? And as amazing as so many of these products are, there's so many entrepreneurs that forget the very, very basics. If I sell something for $1 and I buy it for 50 cents, that's a great margin. You got 50 cents. But if you're paying $10,000 in rent, how many of those do you have to sell? And do you have to pay for a salesperson? Do you have to pay for your phones and your computers and so forth? And so the point is, green business is fantastic, but it has to actually make money too. It won't last if it's just a feel-good company. So that's the hard lesson I learned with my first company, and something that I've stick to very, very, very strictly in the company I run now.